Hey there, Jeff from GuestInsight. Welcome to another episode of So You Want My Feedback, our series where we go through and review the real-life feedback asks from hotels, restaurants, cafes, other types of companies, retailers, and so forth, just to get an idea of what resonates with us and what does not resonate with us in terms of how feedback is gathered by these organizations. All right, so today we're going to be looking at a feedback ask and survey from a big multinational hotel chain. My wife and I stayed at one of their locations a little while ago, and here's the feedback ask that we received. Let's dive into my computer and see how it goes. As always, we do this in real time, so I've not gone through this before. I will go through it and share my comments as I complete the tasks that they asked me to complete in terms of providing feedback to them. We also don't divulge the names of the hotels or chains or any of the companies that we do these reviews on. We don't think that's fair or right. This is not about calling someone out on things that are maybe not up to the standards we'd like them to see them to. And we just don't think that's what this is all about. This is more about learning what's resonating with us in terms of both survey execution and the email asks for those surveys, and what doesn't, what's good and best practices in the modern day, I should say. Anyway, let's get back into my computer and take a look at what they sent me. All right. So this is the email that I received. Interestingly, it came 13 days after we checked out of the hotel, which is, in our view, far too long after the stay has ended. We always like to see them 1, 2, 3 days afterwards. And I would say that more than 90% of the surveys that we see come through to our team here at GuestInsight come within that time frame. And it was just very surprising to see a 13-day lag between checkout and the invitation to take a survey. So anyway, I don't know if that's typical for this particular chain. I don't think it is, and I'm not sure why this occurred, but it occurred. Anyway, so let's take a look at the email I received. You see the logo up top. There's a photograph of a hotel room. Not sure. I think it looks sort of like the hotel room we stayed in. Not sure why they felt the need to do that and take up screen real estate, but they did. Then it's personalized. Dear Jeffrey Robbins, thank you for your recent stay. Your feedback is important to us. Please take a moment to tell us about your experience. Tell us about your stay, names the location that we went to, and lists the dates of the stay. And then they ask, how likely are you to recommend the name of the hotel to a friend or business associate? This is the Net Promoter Score question. We've seen this a couple of times now in the series. We see this a lot. I'm sure you see this when in your day-to-day life. But this is the Net Promoter Score question that's been around for just about 20 years now. However, the rating scale that they've provided to us is not the Net Promoter Score rating scale. This is 1 through 10. 1 being not at all likely, 10 being extremely likely. I'm not going to get into this in great detail, but the proper Net Promoter Score scale is 0 through 10. Why is this a big difference? Well, this has obviously 10 possible choices. 0 through 10 has 11, meaning there's an exact midpoint, so you can have a somewhat neutral or midpoint response to this in the true Net Promoter Score question. Not sure why they do this. Again, this is a very large company. This is probably their own methodology or a tweak on the Net Promoter Score methodology. But as you probably know, if you've watched any of our videos before, listened to any of our podcasts, or listened to some of our podcasts, I should say, or read any of our white papers or blog posts, you know that we are not a big fan of Net Promoter Score. we are not alone in this, and there's a large body of work out there amongst consumer behavior scientists and specialists and analysts that get into the shortcomings of the Net Promoter Score system. But that's not what this is about. This is today is not about that. Today is about just reviewing this feedback ask. Did want to just point out that this is a modified version of the Net Promoter Score question. And this, we'll see what happens, but most likely I've seen this format before. When I click one of those choices, it'll take us through to the survey. Anyway, the rest of the email goes, we appreciate your opinion and look forward to welcoming you again soon. Sincerely. And then the name of the general manager. The general manager has signed the email, which, again, if you've watched our videos in the past, this is something we like to see. Somebody taking ownership, somebody in management taking ownership of the feedback process. Love to see that. And then at the bottom, there's just this disclaimer. By completing this survey, you may be contacted by the hotel to help improve the quality of service provided. Our feeling on this is, especially with privacy being of such paramount importance these days, and it's a hot topic in the consumer world these days, we would prefer to see this as an option. We would prefer to give the option of being contacted to the consumer as opposed to being dictated to. What I mean by that is, they shouldn't preclude me from providing feedback without being contacted. They should accept my feedback without me signing away my rights to being contacted. It's limiting the amount of feedback they might get. It might end here for many people because they see this, they don't want to be contacted, but they would be willing to give feedback otherwise. So this is somewhat limiting their opportunity to collect as much feedback as possible. Anyway, let's move on. What I will do now is as I said, I don't love the Net Promoter Score question. And in a nutshell, the reason I don't is the answer for me to how likely are you to recommend a hotel to a friend or business associate is not on a sliding scale. My experience with this hotel is over. This is a yes or no question to me. It's binary. It's not. Shouldn't be graded on a scale, if you will. So I would recommend it. It served our purposes. So for me, it's a 10. Okay, once I click through, this is where I land. It repeats the question, how likely am I to recommend the hotel? And it has captured and displays the answer that I selected in the email, which is a very nice functionality. And then the only other thing, as you can see on this page, the reason I'm reading through all this and the reason we do this is because we also publish these reviews, if you will, as audio podcasts in case people just want to listen to them. So that's why we can make it sort of useful for people to just listen to it as opposed to only watching video as the way to go through it. But that's why I do read through it when I'm doing them. Please tell us about your stay. It's an open-ended text box. Wow, that's a very open-ended question. My opinion may be too open-ended. I will type something in there because we need to move on. There's a next button at the bottom. Nice, well-appointed, comfortable room. Friendly, helpful staff. Okay, so I'm trying to cover a lot of what they may be looking for here. I think this is too broad. Please tell us about this stay. Is this all that they're going to ask me? If this is the only thing that I'm going to see, if this is the only prompts that if these are the only prompts they're going to give me in terms of getting my feedback, I guess this would be okay. I'm assuming I'm going to see more prompts because rather than a submit button at the bottom, it's a next button, but let's see what happens. All right. So they're getting into more detail. They're asking me to do some rating of a number of different aspects of the property, which is fine. However, going back, I just don't like that they gave me a very broad prompt to fill in that text box. Please tell us about this stay. I have a hunch as to where this is going, but I'll save that for the end. Let's go back. All right. Please rate the following aspects of your recent stay. So now we have, again, it's a 10-point scale like they had on the first question. However, the low end of the scale is poor and the top end 10 is excellent. Design and decor. It was very nice. 8. Food and beverage. We did have breakfast there, but that was the only thing we did. The breakfast was mediocre, I would say. Staff service, very nice. Maintenance and upkeep. Room was in good condition. So that's fine. That was excellent, I guess. Cleanliness. Room was clean. We're going to go forward. Thinking about the amenities and service you experienced at the hotel, please rate the following. Fitness center. This is one way to do it. We're going to go one amenity and service at a time, I guess. Not necessary. They're requiring a lot of button clicks here. Didn't use the fitness center. Please indicate the restaurant or restaurants you experienced during this stay. We didn't use any of those restaurants. What we did use was the lounge where there was breakfast. All right, so I assume next we're going to see a rating on that. Yeah, that's what we're going to see. All right, so the lounge service was not applicable. It was self-service. Quality food was mediocre. Let's move on. Okay, so let's read this. So the brand name is mentioned as up front. The name of the hotel chain strives to be the most trusted hotel brand by providing a consistent and reliable experience, enabling you to focus on what matters most during your stay. To what extent do you agree that the specific name and location of this hotel provides a trusted quality experience expected from the brand name? Again, we have the 10-point scale. 1 is strongly disagree, 10 is strongly agree. Again, I don't love that there's so many choices. We'll put it somewhere in the upper end. Please explain why you gave the answer above. I don't feel the need to do that. Let's see if they're going to let me go on. They did. Okay. What was the primary reason for my trip? And then they give us business choices, individual meeting, conference, convention. There are radio buttons, as you can see, or leisure, and they give me 5 choices: individual, couple, friends, family, event, /wedding. Okay, so we are now going beyond getting guest experience feedback here. We're now they're doing some marketing and marketing segmentation here, which is okay. We were actually there for an event. Next, was our hotel stay associated with an event or meeting that took place at the hotel? So this is there's logic behind how they're handling this, because I selected event. That's why I get this. It was not at the location. And that's the end. Thanks for completing the survey. Now share your experience at name of the hotel with others on the brand name, the name of the hotel brand on their website. This is an opportunity to share my rating or my experience onto their website, and it's a review. So they're telling me it's optional, but then down below, if I'm going to do it, I think I have to select a rating, and the choices are poor, fair, average, good, and excellent. Again, now we're using a 5-point scale. And then I have to have a title of my review, and then I have to write my review. Below that, which of these describe you, your traveler type on this recent stay? Again, this is all for the review. And then they are going to require me to put some sort of name in as a profile name, not my real name. And then there's information about privacy and permission. By checking the box below, you consent to any information provided on your hotels today, excluding your name and email address to be used, copied, adapted, repurposed, and published by the brand name in various media, including but not limited to their website. Such information will be subject to terms of use, and there's a link to their terms of use governing brand names, customer reviews, content. And then there's a checkbox to opt in or agree with that. And that seems to be only related to the review that I would write on this page, which I am not going to do. And down below, it seems that that's the case because I can skip this step and submit the survey, which is what I'll do. And that's the end of the survey. Thank you for your feedback. We look forward to serving you in the future. Okay, I would say, as far as these things go. A lot of work to post the review if you want to do it. There could be options to copy and paste information. They could have offered that to reuse some of the information that I had entered previously, but they didn't do that. And I think most interesting to all this was that my typed in comments were the first thing they asked me after the initial Net Promoter Score question, as opposed to most times you see the prompt for additional comments or explanation at the end of the survey, and there are no specific prompts to it. It was completely open-ended. They didn't prompt me about my guest room. They didn't prompt me about staff members, which we love to see. It was just open-ended, and it was upfront in the survey. So that was a little surprising and interesting. Okay, so that's it for this particular feedback ask from a big hotel chain. Thank you for watching or listening. And if you have any comments or feedback, please leave it in the comments section below. And we'll see you on the next episode soon. Thanks again for watching.